Hello everyone, Jace here. So Konami's announced a new mini box and new UR set. So I'll be going over both of them and giving my review of them. So first up is the UR set for Draco Berserker of the Tenny. And I can't click it to actually show what it does, but it's a level 8 synchro that has generic materials. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish that monster. So it's a really strong going first card. I think it also has an additional effect against like FX monsters or something, but I can't remember that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's like the basic 10 anti-effect monster things. But the actual mini box is World of Barian. So it's gonna be it has a bunch of new cards that I actually think have some potential. So we're just gonna go straight into cards to be released. So first up is Utopia Ray Victory. It requires 3 level 5 monsters. When this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can target an Xyz in your graveyard, return that target to the extra deck. If this card has a Utopia monster as a material, it gains its effects. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy that monster, and if it was face up, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the destroyed monster had on the field. So this is just Volcasaurus. It's literally just Volcasaurus, but worse because you do have to rank it up with. You can't just slap it on top of a Utopia monster. You gotta rank it up with rank it magic. So yeah, the cover card of this set is not super great, but I do think they are introducing a couple archetypes that are actually really good. So Black Laser Soldier is definitely not one of them. You can ritual summon this with Chaos Form or Super Soldier Ritual. It must be ritual summon. During your draw phase, before you draw, reveal this card in your hand. Give up your normal draw this turn, and if you do add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand, your opponent cannot activate cards effect during your battle phase. This attacking monster card that was ritual summoned using a normal monster destroys the opponent's monster by battle. Shuffle all cards your opponent controls into the deck. So I guess if you like advance ritual like this, it's only by battle though, so that's really slow. So yeah, no. Black Laser Soldier is just not getting a good card, especially since it requires normal monsters. So if you summon this with the Black Luster Soldier, like mini Black Luster Soldiers ritual support, then you're not getting the effect off, that secondary effect. So yeah, it's not very good. But the main draw of this box is going to be Tennies. So they are releasing Ashuna, which is really strong. So Ashuna, all the Tennies main decks share the same effect, where if you control no effect monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And they also share an effect where if you control a face-up non-effect monster, banish this card from your hand or graveyard, which is like the common theme, but they all have different effects for that cost. So Ashuna is really strong. It summons a Tenny from your deck, except itself, but you can't special summon anything except worm types. But if you're playing Tennies, you're probably not going to be summoning anything except worms. So yeah, Ashuna is definitely one of the strongest because it just tutors out one of your other ones. Also, it's level 7, which is very relevant to summoning Draco Berserker, which is their synchro monster that I just went over. Next up is Rashuda. So this one is also level 7, and its special effect when you banish it is that you target a monster your opponent controls and then return it to hand. So it's just a free bounce. One thing about Rashuda is that it's completely generic in terms of like you can run this in any deck as like a going second engine, along with the Link monster, which I'll quickly go over. If it's in here, where is it? It should be here somewhere. There's Draco Berserker, or Berserker of the Tenny, which is a Link 3. But there should be there it is, it's an SR. Monk of the Tenny, it just requires 1 non-linked Tenny monster. It's a non-effect. It has a downward pointing arrow, which is pretty good for a Link deck. But yeah, pretty simple, just it plays into the theme of the archetype. Next up is the Link 2 Shaman of the Tenny. Requires 2 worm-type monsters. Discard 1 card, target 1 worm-type monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, for the rest of the turn, you can't activate the effect of monsters special summoned from the extra deck except Tenny monsters. When attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. So So Shaman's mainly used for its first effect, where it just revives any worm type monster, which is just insanely strong. You can play a bunch of like different worms alongside Tenyis, which because it's completely generic. And Shaman and Tenyi also just works with other worm type decks like Yang Zing's, just because it's completely generic with its summoning. It does lock you into Tenyis from extra deck, but like Yang Zing's can synchro summon just Berserker, which makes this thing work anyway. The second effect is sort of relevant with Tenyis. You typically don't want to end on too many non-effect monsters, especially since I don't think, yeah, they're not adding the Unrivaled Fists Tenyi, which is a counter trap that requires non-effect. So you really don't want to end on one of the vanillas, except if it's Berserker of the Tenyi, but like, it's still pretty good Shaman of the Tenyi. Next up, we already went over Monk, which is just a non-effect monster. Tenyi Spirit of Shuna is also not Shuna, Adhara is really important. It's just a level 1 tuner. That's basically the main point of it. Its secondary effect is also pretty good though. You target one of your banished worm type monsters and add it to your hand. Yeah, so it just recycles any of your worms, which is pretty good. Next up is Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. You send one worm type monster from your deck to your graveyard, and if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can add from your deck to your hand one Tenyi monster with a different name than the monster sent to the graveyard. So, like, you could send another Tenyi to like set up graveyard plays, but you could send a different worm and just search any of your Tenyis. As long as you had another Tenyi to summon Monk, that's pretty much it. Vessel is just really good. It's just a foolish burial for worms. Any worm deck can technically use this too, so you could like play this in Yang Zing's. We already went over Berserker. 3k attack is pretty good. Actually, one thing I didn't mention, it's completely generic. It only requires 2+ monsters, including a Link monster. So any deck that can make a Link 3 can just make a Link 3 beater, which is, it might see play. It's not too bad. Next up is Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi. So this is a field spell, and all non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. Once per turn, if your opponent special summons an effect monster, while you control a face-down monster or a non-effect monster, you can draw 2 cards. So yeah, basically turn 1, you're probably gonna summon Shaman and Draco Berserker. If you can help it, you could probably also summon one Monk of the Tenyi at the end board, and then if you have Flawless Perfection, that gives you a draw 2 basically whenever, because most people play effect monsters, and they're probably going to special summon them. So yeah, this is just Pot of Greed for Tenyis. Next up is Draco Masters of the Tenyi. This requires 2+ monsters, including a Link monster, so it's also pretty generic. Can't be destroyed by battle with an effect monster. If you control no other effect monsters, you can destroy effect monsters your opponent controls up to a number of non-effect monsters you control in your graveyard. So yeah, Draco Master of the Tenyi is pretty strong. Can't be destroyed by battle. It's pretty decent protection for Link 3. Actually, one more thing I forgot about Flawless Perfection. Since it helps with face-down monsters, this could be good for sub-terrors or crawlers. But yeah, let's see, anything else? There should be other Tenyis. There we go. There's some other Tenyis. There's Tenyi Spirit Nahada. This one's special effect is banish this card from your hand or graveyard. Your opponent's monster. It's a battle trick, so I missed that part of the effect. But yeah, your opponent's monster loses 1500 attack until the end of his turn. So yeah, basically an Honest in the Grave. You might want to run a couple of these just because it helps with battling. The Tenyis tend not to have too much attack. I mean, Draco Berserker has 3k, but like this does help with your OTKs. This one is pretty hard to pronounce. I think it's Shathana? Yeah, I think it's Shathana. This one's special effect is you can just, if a face-up non-effect monster you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, banish this card from your hand or graveyard, target one of those destroyed monsters, special summon it, and you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. So if you summon a Monk and they run over it, you can banish this, summon back Monk, and pop a card. So basically it makes your opponent think twice about trying to destroy them in your Link monsters, which is really strong. Next up is Mapura. If you control no effect monster, it's going to summon this. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a face-up non-effect monster you control, quick effect, banish this card from the graveyard. Negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card. So it's pretty decent graveyard protection. If you summon this, make Monk, and just end on that, maybe. I think that's not too bad, because it means they can't get rid of it except by battle. Next up is Heavenly Dragon Cycle, which is also really strong. Tribute one one-type monster, add a one-type monster from your hand, or if you tribute a non-effect monster, special summon it instead, but negate its effects. During your main phase, if you control a face-up non-effects monster, banish this card from your graveyard, add one 10E monster from your deck to your hand. And you can only use one effect per turn. So this is completely generic. You can use this in any worm type deck, but it's definitely better in 10Es, but like you could use this in Yang Zings to like cycle through your worms. So yeah, that's pretty strong. I feel like 10Es with all this current support might actually be a meta contender. I mean, even if not, I think the Vishuda plus Monk is just a decent enough engine that maybe decks might run it, especially Link decks, because it just gives them a free Link one. But yeah, the other archetype that is in this set is more Toon support. So first up is Comic Hand. If you control Toon World, equipped to an opponent's monster, take control of it. It is treated as a Toon monster, and if your opponent controls no Toon monsters, it can attack your opponent directly. Toon World is not on the field, destroy this card. So yeah, especially with the skill that Pegasus has, which just gives you free Toon World, this is just Snatch Steal. If you get multiple of these, at least two, and they have at least 4k attack total, like on the field, you could just OTK them by stealing your opponent's monsters. So yeah, this is definitely really strong. Next up is Toon Blackluster Soldier. Can't be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by tributing 2 monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal 8 or more. And while you control Toon World and your opponent controls no other Toon monsters, this card can attack directly. Once per turn, if you control Toon World, target one card on the field, banish it. So basically, this is basically BLS Envoy at the beginning, but it's Toon. It's definitely really strong. I think, are we getting Toon Page Flip? We're getting Toon Bookmark, which adds a Toon World or a card that mentions it, so we can search Comic Hand, which is really strong. But if the Page Flip is in here, okay. Yeah, Page Flip is in here. This is reveal 3 Toon monsters with different names from your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to special summon. Ignoring the summoning condition, also shuffle the rest into your deck. So yeah, Page Flip is really strong. You just, as long as you grab Bookmark, grab a Toon World. Actually, you're gonna have Toon World because of skill. So not even that. As long as if you draw Page Flip, you can potentially summon BLS or Ancient Gear Golem, which is decent. Actually, Ancient Gear Golem isn't the best, but like, it's not too bad, but just because it has 3k attack. I think the best are going to be Toon Blackluster Soldier and Toon Dark Magician Girl, just because both of those can attack on the same turn they're summoned. But yeah, those 3 Toon cards by themselves are already pretty strong. We also have Toon Briefcase, which isn't as good. When your opponent summons a monster while you control a Toon monster, shuffle that monster into your deck. I guess it's okay because it gives your deck something to do going first. But yeah, that's not as good. Is there any other Toons? Oh, Toon Heartbeat Lady. This is also pretty good. Can't attack the turn is summoned if you control Toon World, especially summon this card from your hand. Then if you control another Toon monster, you can destroy one spell trap your opponent controls. And while you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters, this card can attack directly. This isn't as good as BLS, just because it can't attack directly the turn it's summoned. It does help like clearing back row, I guess. But I mean, there's also, if you use like this plus Toon Mermaid or just another copy of Toon Harpy Lady, you could make Cyber Slash going first, which I guess is another thing you can do going first for Toons. What nice Toon Dragon? We already have this, so that's not new. And it recently released Toon Dark Magician into the card trader, but I think that was already in the game for a while because I already have copies of that. But yeah, the Toon support is really strong. Oh, Toon Mask, that's also a new one. If you control Toon World, target a face-on monster your opponent controls. Special summon 2 monsters from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to a level of range that monster, ignoring its summoning condition. This one's just too slow because it's a trap. That's really the main issue with it. Shadow Toon also. Control Toon World, target a face-on monster your opponent controls, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack of that face-on monster. I guess this could maybe help secure OTKs, but like, especially with the half damage, it's not as good. But yeah, I think is that all the Toon support? Because it's mostly just the higher ones, the higher rarity ones. The Toon BLS and Toon Bookmark and Comic Can are already good enough by themselves that you don't really need the other Toon support. And there are just a couple generic cards in this set. V Salamander. Well, this card is normal summon, target a Utopia monster in your graveyard. Oh, actually, this isn't generic. Special summon that target. You can target one number C39 Utopia Ray V you control. Equip this monster you control that target. Once per turn, while this is equipped to a monster, detach and exceed monster material from the equipped monster. Negate the equipped monster's effects. And if you do, destroy all monsters your opponent controls, and if you do that, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed by this effect. Yeah, no, this one isn't as great. Especially since it's not like a VW or like the ones in the equipped cards. Like it does work like an equipped card, but it doesn't like have the same synergy with the other ones. So I don't know. This one maybe you might play it as a one-off if you actually do want to play Utopia Ray Victory. Next up is number C106 Giant Red Hand. If this card has a number monster as exceeds material, it gains this effect. Once per turn during either player's turn, and a card or effect is activated on the field, detach one material from this card, and if you do, negate the effect of all other phase-up cards currently on the field. If you can summon this consistently going first, it's really strong. But like you do need a rank of magic, so I don't feel it's as good. As good as like the regular version of the Giant Hand. Next up is also another good generic rank 4. Castel the Sky Blaster Musketeer, 2 level 4 monsters, so just completely generic. Detach one exceeds material from this card, target one face-on monster in the field, change their face-down defense position. You'll probably never use that effect because the second effect is just so much better. You can detach 2 exceeds materials from this card, then target one other face-up card on the field, shuffle it into the deck. So first effect is just like a Book of Moon. I mean, I guess that could have some use cases, but the second effect is just so much better because it spins the card into the deck. So yeah, this just gets rid of so many problem cards. I don't know if it'll replace. It can get rid of like field spells and like continuous spells and traps. So it does have a little bit more utility than the Spider Malevolent Sin. But I'm not sure it'll completely replace it just because this one can't target face down monsters, which are sometimes an issue if you want OTK. But I think you might be able to play both if you have the space for it. But yeah, Castel is really good. Generation Force. If you control Xyz monster and an Xyz card in your deck to your hand. I'm not Generation Force, like, I'm not sure what search targets it has. This is the problem right now. But I don't think it'll be super great because you need to already control an Xyz monster. That's one of the things. There's DZW Chimera Clad. Target one number C39 monster control. Equip this monster from your hand or your side of field to that target. The equipped monster can't be destroyed by battle at the end of the damage step. When the equipped monster attacks the opponent's monster, if the opponent's monster is not destroyed by battle, you can make the opponent's monster 0 and make a second attack. I guess it's okay. You can't play it with the skill, right? That just searches one of these for you. You can equip it to the level 5. So I guess it's not too bad. Just as like a one-off. Rank of Magic Limited Barian Force. This is a pretty box standard rank of Magic, right? Target rank 4 exceeds monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck one number C monster is 1 rank higher. Yeah, okay, this is pretty bog standard. You can at least use this with Utopia Ray Victory. I don't know if it's searchable because it doesn't work with Generation Force because it doesn't have its seasons thing. I mean, maybe this will be good if you can like search it out. There's also a couple dual avatars for some reason. Why are there dual avatars in this set? Dual Avatar Ascendance. Target one dual avatar monster you control destroyed, and if you do special one dual avatar monster from your deck or extra deck, your unit level is one higher or lower than the monster that held on the field. And main phase, except this, the turn this is sent to a graveyard. There's a card from your graveyard and target one dual avatar monster in your graveyard add to your hand. I don't even know. I'm going to be honest. I've never read like another dual avatar in my life. I know their main play is like they have like the token card that summons a bunch of tokens and then you fusion summon with tokens immediately. But I don't think dual avatars are really that good. I also noticed that they added another fusion. So this needs feet and 2 other dual avatar monsters. The first time each dual avatar fusion monster would be destroyed in a battle is not destroyed. Once returned during your main phase, you can turn all face up. Oh, it's not face up. It's just all spells and traps your opponent controls to their hand. And when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's field while you control 2 or more fusion monsters, quick effects you can destroy that monster. Yeah, no, I don't think this is very good. This is like the returning is an ignition effect, so that's kind of slow. But yeah, Chaos Form, I think there's no structure at going, so I think it's nice that they're finally releasing it. There's also like a couple other miscellaneous cards, right? Rising Sun Slash, Gentlemander. When your opponent's monster declares an attack special on this card from your hand, your opponent cannot attack any monster except this one. I guess this is okay. It is just a battle hand trap. Maybe someone will find use for it. I think Veil is just better, but that one is limited to decks currently, so I guess this might see play. I don't know about that, though. Rising Sun Slash, that's not new. Unmasked Jet. Is this one new? I don't have any copies of it. This one's just, it's just Mass Dragon, but for one type, so it's not super relevant. That's King Knight. Is this new? I don't really think any of the other cards are worth mentioning. Actually, Squeak Knight, we don't have a sold, so it's not quite as relevant, but Squeak Knight is used in a sold decks. Is there anything else in here? Supermo Slash. Nope, that's not good. The end of the battle phase becomes... What? Huh? Huh? There's no main phase 2 anyway. What's the point of this card? Okay. I think this might be it. I'm really not gonna go over any of the other cards. I don't think any of these are good because they wouldn't be N-rarity if they were good. But yeah, that's it for the box. I think overall this box is definitely worth picking up, at least for Castell. Even if you're not interested in the Toon stuff or Tenny stuff, I think Toons and Tennys, Toons are a great new archetype, especially with the Synchro Monster in the bundle that they're releasing. And Toons just get a huge boost with Comic Hand plus Toon Bookmark. I think they might actually just be like an insanely consistent OTK deck. And people might not summon monsters on their first turn if they're too scared of Toons. But yeah, that's it for this box review. Comment down below what you think of this box. Like and subscribe if you want to see more Duel Links content. I'll see you guys later. Bye.